Hello there and welcome. This is Mikhail or Michael speaking. And as always, before this video starts, I would like to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal, or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now, today's video I will start as always with Avdiivka town, as Russian forces continue their offensive operations in the vicinity of the city. Most interesting news, of course, are coming from the south, where Russians continuously storm the very outskirts of the town, and were already being able to enter it and entrench themselves within it. At first, Russians were able to successfully enter this area here, and as a result of storming operations, were able to capture those territories from the Ukrainian side. Soon after, they went on another assault, and as a result of that, captured this portion of the town, ensuring their presence in this sector. So here on your screens, you can see a result of 24 hours of hard fighting in this area. The reason why we know it is because Russian forces were recorded by Ukrainian drone operators in the vicinity of this area, with ammunition being dropped on them. Russians were also recorded attacking from this direction in attempt to enter Avdeevka from this flank as well. However, at this point in time, there are no territorial changes to report. As you can see, this puts Ukrainian formations in this area into a semi-encirclement. If we zoom in, we can see that this area is riddled with many trenches and strongholds that will be going to tough to storm, so it is obvious that Russians are trying to encircle them and force Ukrainians to retreat. Yesterday I reported that if Russians are to successfully capture this entire portion of Avdiivka, they might endanger the entire Ukrainian groupings located within this salient. It seems that my suspicion had turned out into a grim reality, as the partial encirclement is now complete. Ukrainian formations within these said strongholds are now under great stress and might receive orders to retreat at any moment. So if Ukrainians will not change tactic and do something about it, we can expect the front to collapse and Russians taking those territories as an end result. There are also reports of Russian attacks coming from the settlement of Kupiansk as they attacked within these Dutch areas, and yet again we can see a possibility of a partial encirclement of a Ukrainian forces located in this area. At this point in time, I'm sure you can spot some tendencies that occur while Russian attack. Seemingly, they choose to bypass heavily fortified area in attempt to create a threat of encirclement and force Ukrainians to retreat. As far as I know, at this point in time, Ukrainians were successful at evading encirclements, and I'm sure Russians understand that. So if Russian forces continue to successfully attack in this area as well, Ukrainian formations in this area will sure be forced to retreat. As this kind of fighting continues, Russians also continue to attack across a wider front. Those attacks are coming from Apitne in the general direction of 9th Quartal, from Vadiane in the direction of Severne and Tonenke, within Vadiane and Pervomaysky towns, and in the direction of Nivelske. Fighting continues in Stepove, in the direction of Ukrainian-controlled Berdichi and Nova Kalinova. It seems that Russians concentrated most of their troops attacking Avdeevka proper, making the city a prior target, with those attacks on the flank being secondary objectives. From Avdeevka, let's quickly visit the town of Marinka, which Russians recently captured, and discuss the outcome of Russian attacks that are coming in the direction of a next town in line, which is called Grigorivka. Although the map has not updated, there are certain claims that Russians were able to advance within Grigorivka and capture about this much territory from the Ukrainian side. This is mostly at this point is coming from pro-Russian sources, but I do trust them, as most of the territorial changes that they have talked about were acknowledged by both pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian sources. From here, let's move all the way to the town of Bakhmut and discuss the situation there as well. First, let's discuss the situation on the southern flank. Here, in the last 24 hours, Ukrainians had conducted several counterattacks in attempt to push Russians and regain some of their positions in this area. However, those attempts were denied by Russian resistance, and Ukrainians were unable to advance here whatsoever. Occasionally, Russians answered those attacks with counterattacks of their own. However, at this point in time, Russians were unable to advance as well. The fighting here is mostly of positional style of warfare. I have an interesting video for you of a Ukrainian tank in the vicinity of Ukrainian-controlled village of Ivanyivsky being spotted, hunted down, and damaged by the Russian Lancet drone. Here you can see this happening in the video. It seems that although the tank was critically damaged, the crew survived and were able to retreat safely. There is also another video of Russians spotting Ukrainian anti-air equipment and damaging it with Lancet also. It happened pretty far away from the front line near the town of Konstantinivka, which is about 9 kilometers away from the front line. But both those videos serve as an example of effectiveness of Russian Lancet units. Situation on the northern flank remains to be the same, as Russians continue fighting within settlement of Bogdanivka, in the direction of Grigorivka, within Dubova-Vasilivka, and along E40 highway, as well as attacking from the settlement of Chromove. Despite constant reports of Russian attacks here, there is no territorial changes to report. From Bakhmut, let's move all the way to the Kupiansk front and discuss recent Russian gains within the village of Krakhmalne, with recent confirmations of Russian gains in this area. As you can see, the map was updated, which gave Russians control over those set territories. Like I said in the previous video, this recent Russian territorial gains put Kotlerivka and Kislivka in a partial encirclement and might force Ukrainian command to take a hard decision to retreat from those two villages altogether. It is also important to note that a small village of Tabaivka is probably the next logical target of Russian attack and is in danger of capture as well. When it comes to the new territorial changes, Russians were able to advance to the south of Krakhmalne in the direction of Ukrainian-controlled village of Berestove. This is exactly how much territories Russians were able to capture from the Ukrainian side. It seems that the recent Russian advances here in this area really is a sign of a start of the new offensive in this area, as many villages in this area find themselves as targets of Russian artillery strikes and direct assaults from armored pieces. Before I end this video, I have an interesting post for you, which was posted by Deep State Map, which shows the map of Ukrainian claims to the Russian territories. As they claim, those were historically Ukrainian lands or lands inhabited by Ukrainian peoples. You can see the picture here on your screens. As someone who knows both Russian and Ukrainian history, this really hurts my head. But I only have one question to this source. With all the forces you were able to scramble, you were unable to retake Kherson Oblast, as well as Crimea and Zaporozhye. How are you supposed to take all those territories from Russia? Hopefully, this was just a bad joke, without any serious intent. Because if it wasn't, and they were truly serious, it may raise many questions about intellectual level of those who come up with those ideas. In any way, I would like to know your opinion on this matter. Please do express it in the comment section. Overall, this is all that I have for you today. If you liked this video so far, please consider supporting it with a like, comment, and of course a subscription. Thank you for considering it. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free and great.